Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to make a video covering my thoughts on a YouTuber called Geekman. Now, I've made videos on other VPN related YouTubers in the past, but this one has specifically caught my attention lately because of the amount of views he's getting and the amount of misinformation he's putting out. So if I were you, I wouldn't really trust this guy's knowledge on VPNs. One thing I did want to mention before starting out this video is that a couple months ago in June of 2021, I did find that Geekman and another YouTuber called Tech House are pretty much running the same kind of channel. But there's really not any disclosure that they're the same person or anything like that. And this is what I found. Basically, Geekman or whoever is running him or hiring him as a freelancer also has another channel with another person called Cyberdog. Check this out. But we also have a new channel called the Movie Time, which is funny because this is actually the same guy who's making the Cyberdog channel. I think YouTube caught on to them buying views or something, and Cyberdog no longer exists. They had made a ton of VPN content, and it's just completely gone. And now they're making content on Movie Time channel, which is funny because if you look at this first video here he posted, check this voice out.
To change your Netflix region in order to successfully.
So do you recognize?
NordVPN.
So Geekman,
Unblock Netflix.
Movie Time, pretty much confirmed it's the same company or same person who owns all these, which is funny because this guy who is like known as Cyberdog is now making videos here too. So Cyberdog and Geekman somehow related, not sure how, maybe owned by the same person. Here on my channel, I base my reviews on objectivity and ranking VPNs by how affordable they are, what kind of features they can present. But this guy just has a clear narrative he's trying to push to you so he could sell VPNs with high commission models. Here on my channel, my top VPNs only give around 30 to 40% commission rates, whereas other VPNs out there like NordVPN, ExpressVPN, and some of these other VPN providers can give up to 100% commission rates for 1 month, and then 40% or more for other recurring months, or even specific deals behind the scenes. Now in this video, I'm making no means to slander or defame any of the VPNs mentioned in this video. I'm just using a specific video as an example to illustrate my points about Geekman as a YouTuber who doesn't have all of his facts right. And I'm going to explain why in this video. So guys, one thing I want to mention off right away is that for a new YouTuber, Geekman is kind of an odd YouTuber in the sense of his analytics. One weird thing you can notice about his channel is that he has an insane amount of views for what he does. Most of his videos don't have any screen capture of his face, any kind of really personality, and the videos themselves don't really have that much authenticity to them. If you look at the videos themselves, you can see almost every single one gets around 1.k for views, 1.4k views, 1.4k, 1.4k, 1.5k, 1.4k, 1.6k. Each video has almost exactly the same views, and I find that a little bit odd. Usually there's a lot more variation when it comes to video views and stuff like that, but this channel almost gets the same exact views on every single video. And if you look at the different videos, you have like 3 comments here, 0 downvotes. But if you look at like a specific example of 2 ones posted very closely together, this one and this one, we can look at Movad versus NordVPN. We're going to have 22 upvotes. And then if we look at, this one right here, I was just posted as well. I'm going to guess it's going to be around 22 upvotes. And what do you know? 22 upvotes right there. 467. It's kind of odd. And I find that behavior a little bit strange. That consistency of viewership. There are ways on YouTube to bot views, bot likes. I'm not saying that this guy's doing that, but if I were to say that someone would do it, this is the kind of behavior that would look like it. But outside of that, we can actually take a look at this guy's knowledge and see if he knows what he's talking about. Maybe these coincidences in exact same view counts and likes are just a coincidence. And maybe this guy just has a very consistent viewer base, right? Even though they're not really commenting on his videos. So I'm going to take a look at one of his recent ones, NordVPN versus TorGuard. I think this is an interesting to check out because a lot of times I find that people will misrepresent TorGuard. It's definitely the top rated VPN on my channel for a lot of reasons, and I find it's an easy video to kind of discuss how people misrepresent products, and this is definitely a good one to examine. Now, once again, I'm not trying to defame NordVPN or anything like that or talk shit about it, but in its own right, it can do some things good, and it does have a user base. But let's go ahead and check out what he says in this video to see if he gets, or how many things he gets wrong.
Okay, so when it comes to the privacy policy, both VPNs do claim a no logs policy. However, when it comes to kind of showing evidence of their no logs policy and, evidence that they truly do uphold the integrity of their no logs policy, only NordVPN does show independent audits. Unfortunately, we don't have any audits with TorGuard, though there's nothing exactly,
So this guy makes the point early on in his video that they're pretty much comparing TorGuard and NordVPN's privacy policy, and thus like how much you could trust them as companies. He makes a point to say that NordVPN has a advantage over TorGuard because it has a public audit that it did in the past. That is true. But then he also kind of goes on to say that there isn't really anything sketchy going on with TorGuard about its privacy policy. I do want to see if he's going to mention a couple other areas of interest where you can examine a VPN's trust level.
All the analytics data they collect cannot link to any specific users, and the analytics are actually purged every 90 days according to TorGuard. It is unfortunate that they don't have an actual independent audit report to show that they truly do uphold their no logs policy, but still with TorGuard, they do have a clean slate, and there's really nothing in their history that shows any kind of suspicious data collection activities. And just like NordVPN, they have upgraded their servers to RAM disk mode, which means that there are no hard drives running these servers, so there's really no physical drive to store any information on. And whatever little information is stored on these RAM drives, they will be erased with every machine reboot, so no worries there. Okay, so moving on to...
So he already kind of moved on very quickly from this area, and honestly, in my opinion, it just seemed like he wanted to make the point that NordVPN is a better VPN than TorGuard because it has a public audit, and it therefore is more trusted. And he even goes so far as to focus on the analytic data of TorGuard without mentioning that TorGuard actually uses privacy-friendly open source Matamo analytics. That means they have no Google Analytics on their website. So for example, if we take a look at the blacklight.com, you can see that NordVPN has 6 ad trackers on their website, 4 third-party cookies, and they're using Google Analytics. However, if you look at TorGuard's website, they don't have any of this stuff. A complete performance here, no trackers, anything on there tracking you behind the scenes. And this is something this guy fails to mention because it doesn't really fit his narrative. He just wanted to make the talking point that NordVPN has an audit and TorGuard does not, despite the fact that TorGuard is collecting way less data on their website than NordVPN. Additionally, this guy fails to mention that back a couple of years ago, NordVPN did have an issue with their security, in which they had a server breach and they failed to tell people about it in a timely manner. This was a huge deal and kind of let people lose trust in NordVPN, although they've tried to build back that trust by getting stuff like a public audit. One could make the argument that TorGuard doesn't need a public audit because there hasn't been any serious breach in which they've had customer data issues. In fact, with the same breach that happened in NordVPN, since TorGuard was using a similar server provider, TorGuard was able to prevent themselves from having the same information accessed by having better security on the back end, as they said, using secure PKI management, meaning that their main CA key was not on an affected VPN server. They further state that the stolen TLS certificate for TorGuard was not valid on the network since 2017. So TorGuard in this example actually had better security than NordVPN. This is something Geekman does not mention at all because it more so leans aside towards TorGuard and makes NordVPN look worse. Once again, it doesn't really fit his narrative. Now, I'm not saying that NordVPN is doing it all bad now. Having a public audit and being more transparent with the user base is certainly something they've kind of improved across the years for sure, especially since this incident. However, Geekman doesn't mention any of this. Additionally, we can also check out some other areas of privacy, and we can look at TorGuard and the Exodus. Exodus is a privacy audit platform which analyzes a VPN's trackers and permission counts on Android. As you can see, TorGuard has 0 trackers and 9 permissions. However, if we look up NordVPN, it definitely does not have 0 trackers and a low permission count. If anything, it has 4 trackers, tons of Google trackers, and 16 permission counts, with stuff like writing external storage and some of those things that we don't want to see. So overall, again, it makes NordVPN not look as good in this area. Next up, he kind of spends the next portion of the video talking about speed, and he kind of does like a calculator and stuff like that. We could take a look at this segment.
Speed, my base speed without a VPN is at 5.69 megabits per second in this test. Keep in mind that, tests will vary from test to test. So, just take it with a grain of salt. This is just supposed to give you a bit of an idea of which VPN usually performs better. So I tested the Atlanta server and the Italian server with both VPNs using the best performing protocols. That'll be the NordLynx protocol with NordVPN and the WireGuard protocol with TorGuard. And with NordVPN,
See, one thing I wanted to mention here already that I knew was going to happen is that he already pre-ran the speed tests. I'm not saying he edited the HTML on this page, although it's certainly possible. If you don't show a live speed test in a video, that means chances are, how can the viewer really trust that it's an accurate speed test or that you're not making it up? He already pre-ran it, whereas on my channel, I show you all the speed tests live. So he already has the numbers that he wants to show here, and I would wager that NordVPN is going to be faster. So let's go ahead and move on to the next section. I think we established our point here, in that there's just not enough transparency involved in his speed tests.
Streaming capabilities, this is where I really do not recommend TorGuard. So they only allow for 2 IP addresses to use for streaming. So they'll only give you 2 regions. You're able to select only 2 regions to unblock. And if you wanted to change from, let's say you have the Italian and the United States, you have 2 IP addresses that unblock the United States library of Netflix and the Italian Netflix library. Say you wanted to change it later to the French and Canadian, you'll have to actually pay $4 to change the IP address. I believe it is $4 for every IP address, which is really weird considering you're already paying extra for the streaming IP address. Though, keep in mind, it is a dedicated IP address that they give to you, so this is why it's a little bit more expensive. So if it's a dedicated IP address, you'll be getting better speeds and you'll get maintenance on it. However, if it is blocked by Netflix, it means you have to talk to TorGuard again and tell them that it got blocked by Netflix. So yeah, I really do not recommend TorGuard for
So this guy is talking about TorGuards and some of the cons with its streaming compatibility. He makes it clear that you might have to pay to switch servers, which is true. He also makes a caveat that if it gets blocked by Netflix, it's going to be a pain in the ass, but he doesn't actually go into details as to what that could mean. Having a dedicated or streaming IP, in this case with TorGuard VPN, while it's not currently my recommended way to unblock Netflix, it certainly has its advantages in stuff like reliability. The chances are that your unique streaming IP that you purchased from TorGuard get blocked are much lower than actual shared IPs used by stuff like NordVPN or other DNS proxy networks. And it's also a more privacy-friendly way. A lot of VPNs out there actually use residential proxy networks, or using other IPs across botnets and stuff like that, which are not very privacy-friendly. If you're purchasing a specific IP from a VPN you trust, it is a certain privacy element to streaming that you can be guaranteed, even though for normal use and normal VPN use, dedicated and streaming IPs aren't for anonymity. But for streaming, they do provide you kind of a safe, guaranteed way to unblocking the streaming services. The only caveat is the flexibility, which he did touch on a little bit, but he also didn't talk about the Pro, which is a little bit more reliability. And let's see what he has to say about NordVPN. He's probably just going to say it's amazing for streaming and very flexible.
All of these services are blockable with the base service with NordVPN, with the base plan, except for the US Netflix library, though it is able to unblock all the other Netflix libraries with.
So he's saying that NordVPN cannot unblock the US Netflix library. That's like the biggest one that people want to unblock. And just to be totally transparent here, I am running a current VPN test of NordVPN with the US version of Netflix. It should show the US version of Green Zone. The US version of Netflix has Green Zone. I'm even going to reload it so you know it's not an old page and show it again. As you can see, Green Zone is not supported. So as of right now, NordVPN is not currently working with the US version of Netflix, just like he said, but he still presents it as a better streaming option, which doesn't make sense. Another thing that Geekman claims is that NordVPN, even though it doesn't work with the US version of Netflix, it does work with other versions of Netflix. However, I don't find that to be true either. If I looked up the Faraway Paladin on the Japanese server, or the Japanese version of Netflix, it should show up here as currently working, and it does not. So I think Geekman probably realizes that if he says it doesn't work with the US version of Netflix, but it works with other ones, it's a lot easier to kind of get away with that because people are probably not going to be testing so many other different servers and showing him that is not true. And I've done it right here to show him that from pretty much 2 out of 2, NordVPN is not unblocking these version of Netflix's. So his claim that it just doesn't work with the US version of Netflix is simply not true, because you can see here it's not currently working with the Faraway Paladin either. Now, once again, guys, I'm not necessarily recommending TorGuard as my best option. In fact, I already made a video, the true best VPNs for Netflix 2022 edition, where I show my 2 recommended VPNs for unblocking versions of Netflix and live tests showing them working.
Any problems. It's just that the US Netflix library has been a little bit difficult for most VPNs after the latest crackdown by Netflix. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, now moving on to features. This is where TorGuard...
Additionally, he didn't actually show himself purchasing the streaming IPs and testing them to show you that they don't work. He wasn't actually connected. He just got these proxy errors to load up on his webpage, and he very easily could have not even tested out the streaming IPs or anything like that. We don't actually see proof of him testing them out to see if they work or not. Just saying.
Going through the features here, obviously we have protocols, the OpenVPN, OpenConnect, and WireGuard. And with OpenVPN, you'll notice that you'll be able to switch ports. You can pick ports, you can pick your encryption, and there's just a lot of customization available here. It's probably one of the most highly customizable VPNs out there. I prefer to stick to WireGuard since it is typically faster. As you can tell, these are my dedicated IPs for the Canadian, for unblocking the Canadian library. But yeah, it's just I don't really use it for.
Another strange thing that I noticed in this guy's video was that he said he purchased streaming IPs specifically to unblock the Canadian version of Netflix. However, if you go onto TorGuard's website, you can see that they don't even list that as a compatible region. So he's saying like it doesn't work well for the US Canadian version, but that's not even really an option to test or recommended to use it that way. So that's kind of odd to me, don't you think?
Personally speaking,
so of course he goes over all the different features and stuff like that, acting like he's ever used TorGuard VPN and how good it is for the most part. And then of course he always has to say, of course, although TorGuard is good, he does prefer the simplicity of NordVPN, even though he even admitted that TorGuard is very simple to use. As you can see here, it's completely simple. You just select the server, pick the tunnel type, and connect. It even looks a little simpler in some ways than NordVPN's kind of cluttered map-based interface. It definitely looks simpler. Whether it looks better or not is kind of up to you. But choosing NordVPN because it's simpler is kind of a subjective thing that really shouldn't be in a review. Now, he's definitely later going to go on to explain why NordVPN is better and this and that. But who do you trust? This guy or someone who's done this? I've nailed down every single feature and listed it point by point, and I can actually compare point by point which is the better application. Well, it's kind of up to you. NordVPN has split tunneling where TorGuard does not. NordVPN does not have a Linux GUI where TorGuard does. NordVPN doesn't allow you to port forward torrents, which is good for increasing your speed while torrenting or seeding torrents, where TorGuard does. Every other thing about the applications is very similar. So TorGuard's missing one thing and NordVPN's missing two. In my book, that means TorGuard wins, but let's go ahead and hear what this guy's reason is. Maybe it's just because it feels simpler. That should be an objective reason to push a VPN, right?
I prefer the simplicity of NordVPN. Now, you've got this very nice UI right here. You got specialty servers, onion over VPN, and peer-to-peer. And if you switch to OpenVPN, you'll also get double VPN and dedicated IPs. And moving on to the settings here, by the way, stick to NordLynx if you want the best performance. You have an ad blocker. You have an app kill switch, just like TorGuard. By the way, this will close selected apps when you disconnect from the VPN rather than disconnecting your entire connection as it is with the internet kill switch, the conventional internet kill switch. You do get split tunneling, which you don't with TorGuard, funnily enough. You don't have any of the options that you have with TorGuard. You know, you'll have to figure out the or look up these private DNSs or static DNSs for Google.
Okay, so he did admittedly admit that TorGuard has better DNS options, and it does.
And whatnot. Usually it's 8.8.0.0 and 8.8.8.8 for Google.
Why would you use Google DNS if you're using a VPN? That's literally the least privacy-friendly thing you could do.
So obfuscated servers, if you're in a censorship-heavy country, but you're not going to need those because, well, for the most part, if you're in a censorship-heavy country, NordVPN will give you a special version of NordVPN that'll work in censorship-heavy countries, and it's identical to this. It's just meant to function in censorship-heavy countries, whereas TorGuard is not recommended for censorship-heavy countries. A lot of reports, there are many reports out there that is just very inconsistent in censorship-heavy countries, so definitely I would not recommend it. Now, TorGuard has over 3,000 servers.
So he just like randomly says TorGuard doesn't work in censored countries? Like, where is he getting that information? TorGuard has a lot of anti-censorship things. It is Stunnel, Sockside Proxy, Shadow Proxy, all sorts of proxies and different things to try to unblock restrictions. Has different ports, different open VPN configurations you could use. It definitely is way more customizable in terms of obfuscation than NordVPN, admittedly.
With NordVPN, you'll be able to secure up to 6 devices per subscription and 8 with TorGuard, though it depends on, the...
So another point in TorGuard's favor, you have more simultaneous connections.
Planning here. So with the plans, with the NordVPN...
So one thing I want to see if this guy mentions that after the first 2 years, you're going to be paying $100 a year for NordVPN. If you look at the pricing page, you'll see that to be truth, and I'm not lying. So pretty much you go to NordVPN, you click on the deal here, and then you see here, it's only valid for the first term, and you can learn here, click more, and you could find it somewhere around here, I think. So I finally, after like 5 minutes of searching, found the renewal prices, and as you can see here, after the renewal terms, you will be billed, I guess, 1 year price term, which is $100. Let's go ahead and see if Geekman mentions that in his pricing explanation.
Plans. Of course, if you're looking for a discount, be sure to check the description down below.
That's his affiliate link, well, so he'll get credit and make a ton of money from making this comparison.
This is the regular plan that you're going to be getting, but if you click the link in the description, you'll get 1 extra month to your 2 years, so keep that in mind.
So basically the way affiliates kind of incentivize people to click their links is usually VPNs like NordVPN will give them around 1 to 3 extra months to give affiliates a way to kind of incentivize people to click. It's not really that much of a discount, just giving you like 1 or extra months after 2 years of subscription, and you do have to pay up front.
Mind if you're interested in NordVPN. And as you can tell here, with the 2-year plan, you're paying roughly $89 for 2 years. But again, make sure you check the link in the description.
He really wants you to click on that link, doesn't he?
Yeah, keep that in mind. Now,
he didn't mention the price increase after the 2 years, though. Interesting. Now let's see if he mentions any promo codes for TorGuard.
TorGuard, it's a little bit weird. So again, as you can tell, there's the regular version here. So you can't stream with it. You're not going to get your dedicated IPs. And again, because with the streaming bundle, or in order to stream, you need dedicated IPs. It's going to be a whole lot more expensive. So roughly
mention the promo code
for a single month, and yeah, you're getting access to, you're getting to secure 8 simultaneous connections and whatnot, and it's
the promo
a great
code,
VPN,
bro,
and very secure and open source, and lots of
customization
options and whatnot. But I mean, if you're just looking for a VPN to stream and you don't want all these extra options, then this is definitely not the right choice. So if you go to,
even though I suspect he didn't test it because he was testing Canadian dedicated IPs and not actually streaming IPs provided by TorGuard, because they don't actually list Canadian IPs in the streaming bundle.
The streaming bundle here. Here it says,
you could see it right here. It doesn't list those IPs.
Only 2 streaming IPs and the available region.
Let's see if he enters a promo code. If you enter promo code Netflix, anybody could do this. It reduces the price by half. That's a much better discount than what NordVPN offers. And I guarantee you 100% he's not going to mention the promo code for this one or the normal main package, which makes it $5 a month or $30 a year for complete VPN use, which is unbeatable in my opinion. I guarantee you 100% he's not going to mention any of those promo codes because he wants you to buy the VPN he's pushing you to buy, even though objectively, as we've gone through already, he's pretty much missed up every single category he's talked about.
Regions are only USA, UK, France, Germany, Spain, and Japan. So either way, if you're looking to unblock any service outside of these regions, you're not going to be able to do that. And yeah, roughly $122 for
where's the promo
a
code?
single year.
Is he gonna
whereas
say it?
here, I mean, you're getting with NordVPN,
Nope.
you're getting.
He's just gonna ask you to click on the link again.
For
Watch.
$79 if you click the link in the description.
Oh, there it is.
rather than
There's the link.
$89,
Click on the link, guys.
You'll
Click
get
it.
25
link.
months.
Click his
So,
link.
yeah, that's a pretty good deal if you ask me. Again, I'm just here to kind of give you the information.
He's just here to give you the information, while at the same time specifically not giving you the information and giving you promo codes that would make TorGuard a much more attractive offer to people watching this video. He's also here to not give you the information on the fact that TorGuard has some really cool features that he didn't mention, as well as privacy-friendly backend stuff that, like I mentioned in the beginning.
It's up to you whether or not you want to go with one VPN or the other. If you guys are interested in either.
And that's pretty much it, guys. Just asking you to click the links again for another entire minute of his video. As you can see, guys, here, this guy is clearly not an objective VPN reviewer. He's not even comparing these VPNs so much as just trying to get you to buy one over the other one and nitpicking a couple different things to promote it over the other one. In this example, he promoted NordVPN over TorGuard, saying that it's more private and trustworthy because it's at a couple public audits, when in fact TorGuard's back-end privacy illustrates how much they care about privacy using open source analytics, whereas that wasn't the case with NordVPN. Additionally, we can see in other categories the application performance and comparison was not as accurate as it could have been, missing out on some things and preferring NordVPN for subjective reasons like the fact that it's simple to use. Well, as you can see, both applications are very simple to use overall. Everything this guy used in this video was not objective. In my opinion, it was purely a subjective video to try to get you to click on his link that he told you to click on 10 or 20 times, while at the same time failing to mention any promo codes for the VPN he was comparing. Anyways, guys, that's just one video on this guy. You could check out his channel if you want and see all the other videos. If we look at his channel right now, he has like 20 or 30 videos. He's just spamming all the time trying to get you to buy NordVPN, as you can see here. The last 20 videos he's done in the last 5 days have been about NordVPN, and the same comparisons for other VPNs as well, shit-talking them and promoting NordVPN. Now, once again, I don't have anything against NordVPN. It's a decent product in some ways. So, guys, I would recommend not checking this guy out, not supporting this guy, but that's always up to you as well. And you can do what you want, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.